What's good, y'all? This is a new way of me doing this. I'm actually driving home right now. I had to take my partner to work this morning, so yeah, this is so weird. This is so weird. Oh my god, I feel so. Okay, so anyway, so I'm here today to talk about Atlas. I just dropped Atlas on July 19th, which was, I believe, 2 Fridays ago, and it's been quite an experience, to say the least. When I released Atlas, I had $0 in my account. When I released Atlas, I had $0 in my account. But I knew that I owed you guys a song. I knew I owed you guys a taste, at least a taste of what's coming up. And I knew I had to start it at a certain point. Do your planning, and I don't want to give you guys too much of how the sauce is made, but you do your planning and you have to really lock down for yourself when you're going to release things, especially when you're in charge of everything like I am, when you are the boss, so to speak. When you're the boss, so to speak, you have to administer everything. You are the go-to, you're the manager, you're the administrator, you're the whatever word you want to use to describe it. You are the go-to for everything, and you are the team that you have. So starting off with $0 and starting off with all the different activities that I had to get done in order to effectively, launch Atlas was stressful. I'm in a situation where I'm also trying to move and kind of find a new living situation. So this has been quite an experience. I continue to go to work. In case you were wondering, an update on how I handled that $0 situation. I don't have $0 in my account right now. I actually have some money in the account, and it's because I hustled, did my Uber Eats, my Instacart, and my DoorDash to implement what I could and to, work where I could. I couldn't even buy fast food, really, because I had to make sure that my money was being stored and being saved and allocated to the right places and not on junk food. So it was a week. The first week of Atlas was a week of discipline. It was a week of only spending on what I absolutely had to, still getting Atlas out to the different tastemakers and stuff like that, like I like to do. Just getting all the other marketing stuff that I have to get done for the song done. As I could. It was basically, usually I like to have the budget. Well, I realize now that I like to have the budget, or would prefer to have the budget ready ahead of time. That way, I'm just kind of following a plan. Oh no, it says slow connection, but I think it'll still stay connected. But usually I like to set the budget ahead of time. That way I'm kind of setting a plan around that budget and how things are being spent. But this time I really had to take it back to old school Nctrnm, old school Nctrnm, where I was releasing songs with no budget. I was releasing songs where I didn't have a clear idea of with what intensity, with what media I was going to be able to promote my songs. This time I at least have the know-how of having, a budget from previous releases. And at least this time I have the know-how from being in business school of how to manage a campaign like this, how to really optimize, the grassroots approach and connect with my audience to lift the song and get it to where it needs to go, as opposed to having the money be the largest assistant of doing that. So aside of that, every time I hear the song, it gives me so much motivation about continuing forward and about being patient for when I start school and I get my financial aid from school and I'm able to really kind of show you guys what this Gemini era and what this whole Pixel era is about. Because I have a lot of things in store that I haven't necessarily been able to put out because I haven't had the money to really give it the platform and the scale that it really needs to have the impact that I really can see it having, and the impact that I know it can have on your guys' lives, and where I can see it fitting into your lives. Releasing all of this kind of content and all these different experiences without a platform to effectively, or without the money to effectively platform it, is just doing a disservice, and it's asking to have yourself be underrated. And with this project, I think that this one is the one. I think that this one is going to reach across the aisle to a lot of different people. Yes, this is an experimental electronic project. Yes, this is a project that pulls from down tempo and just more niche styles of electronic music, like experimental electronic, IDM, down tempo. Sure, but that does not mean that it's not accessible, and that does not mean that the average person who listens to top 40 even can't find their own identity and connection to what I'm making here. This album, this era of this 3 EP album era, is centered on the quarter life crisis. As I've said before, I'm currently still experiencing my quarter life crisis. I have a lot more bright moments now than when it first started. I first got to Cal State Fullerton at the top of 20. I was making flux in a much more confident place. And I actually, in my low points, I still find myself feeling very good about what I've accomplished for myself thus far and about the audience and the connection that I have to my audience in spite of anything that's happening. Because even when I'm in these low moments, I think about the different people who support me and who have my back and who want to see me do well, all my different stakeholders, as we like to call it in business, all the different people who have my back and want the best for me and who I want the best for and who I want to, like bidirectionally provide like that same value to. When I think of them, even in these low moments, it kind of pushes me forward and tells me like, bro, you cannot be self-pitying. You can self-pity, but like, don't do too much of that. Be compassionate to yourself, but don't self-pity. Don't stay in that place. I don't like to stay in that place because it feels very unproductive. There's usually always something there's usually something that I can do to help affect the situation somehow, whether it's coping or whether it's actually, mitigating the situation in maybe in a smaller way or whatever the case may be. And I'm doing that. And I feel the motivation to do that because of you and because of all the people who have lent me their support and their investment thus far in any way.